Hello, lovely humans. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for making the time to explore something new, to be brave, to give yourself a chance to be a different you. My name is Mira Kopanarov, and I will be your facilitator. I will kind of guide you through some of the methodology that I have discovered through work experience, through academic research, and quite a lot of mindfulness work. And hopefully, this will be something that resonates with you, that resonates with the current situation you're with, and you find it as a solution to your current problems. So just to start, I want to tell you a little bit about myself, a little bit about the class and the structure we're going to follow. Then we're going to have an opportunity to interact with each other, and hopefully we can start building a bond that will be beneficial for you. Because although this is a free webinar, it's not a hook that I want you to like just sign up for our workshop. Obviously, I would love to meet and work with you further, but I want it to be useful for you. Um, so, as I said, my name is Mira. I am a marketer. I'm a business owner. I am also a realtor. So I've done quite a few things in my life. Even before the age of 18, I've already worked in 5 different industries, including film, food industry, and research. And then I moved and became a very, very passionate marketer. I've worked in the commercial real estate for about 10 years. I was the head of marketing for a large landlord. And in 2019, I was going through a very devastating divorce, and I was kind of pushed to the limits of my physical and mental abilities, and I made it a fundamental shift in my life. As a result, I built a six-figure business within the first year. I worked relentlessly. I was on top of the wave, and I was slowly getting rid of some of the unfortunate things in my life that were kind of stopping me to explore my full potential. And then I broke. I broke my body. I broke my mentality. I was admitted in ER with the fear of having a stroke. And after another year of battling and trying to understand what's going on with me, I have discovered that I went through a clinical burnout. So burnout is a real problem. It's pretty serious. It affects your brain. I can only compare it to when I had a concussion. It pretty much freezes your brain. And not only that, I have depleted my cortisol, which is really the hormone that helps us fight stress. So I've elevated the levels, then I've depleted it, and I became completely helpless. So whatever came my mind, I was unable to battle it. And then I sat down and I said, okay, Mira, you've been doing quite a lot of mindful spiritual work for the past many years. You need to start diving deeper, because obviously working more and working harder and getting the next thing is not really helping you. So despite the fact that I've managed to launch an app, played with the government of Ontario to organize hybrid events during COVID and so on. I've done so much, so much. And in some people's eyes, that could have been considered success. I was I was kind of falling deeper and deeper. So I'm starting with my own story because I want to tell you that I come from a lot of pain, and I come from a lot of adversity in my life. And the reason why I decided to do this workshop is because I found a way that frees the mind from the negative thoughts. It frees the mind from the things that are really stopping us in life. And the only thing that's happening is when you're negative and when you're hurting and when you're in pain or you're unhealthy, and it's inevitable to fall down the rabbit hole and start thinking negatively, and then negative things happen, and then it's a self-fulfilling prophecy that, oh, you see, I knew I'm going to fail, and so on. So I don't want this happening to you. I also noticed that during COVID, quite a lot of the corporate world has changed. We also don't talk about the reality of the trauma that our society and the world experience, and this is killing so many small businesses. So it's getting harder and harder for people to actually see the meaning and the rewards of being an entrepreneur, because it's so damn hard. And I don't want to tell you that it's not going to be hard after what we do, but I want to teach you what mindfulness is not really about meditating positively on what you want to achieve. Mindfulness is about accepting what is coming your way with a positive mindset. So I want you to imagine a world where the purpose of your business, the purpose of your work, either as an employee or an entrepreneur, is actually to nurture and sustain a successful life that you have chosen for yourself. So other than the other way around, where we constantly work, and then on the weekend we try to jam all the errands in the house, and then like when Sunday comes and you're like, what the hell happened? I'm not rested, I don't feel accomplished, I don't feel successful, and I'm super tired, and I have all these aches in my body. And then you scroll on Instagram and you're like, oh my god, look at everybody and how great they are, why am I not able to achieve that? And although you know it is not the real stuff, it gets to you. So I'm here for you. And I want to tell you, just to finish off my story, that even as I was building this workshop, the reason why I actually built it is because people start telling me that I should start sharing what I have learned, because they feel it's very valuable. So I actually became an artist in the middle of my life when I could not even imagine and fathom to grab a brush or like draw something. I was given a gift as a result of my mindfulness, as a result of the massive brainstorm that I have done with myself and with others in the past year. So I want this for you. I want you to free your emotions. I want you to take all of this intangible power that you have within you and channel it in tangible results and success. So we're going to jump into the moments of gratitude, and I'm going to ask you to play with me. As I said, you're here for a reason. So the number one thing is I'm going to ask you to put your phones away. So this is my phone. Here it is. I am right now going to put it on airplane mode. Here you go. And I'm not going to think about it. I know it's off. I'm putting it here. And I am hopeful that you're going to do that as well, because this is a time that you have blocked for yourself. The rest of the world and all the interruptions and all the chaos that these devices bring can wait. Okay? And let's start with gratitude. So gratitude really has become a mainstream technique of rewiring and sending positive vibes into the universe. You probably have heard of it. If you are on social media, quite a lot of influential people are talking about how grateful they are. They demonstrate their daily gratitude. They're talking about how it really changes and rewires your brain. But as everything around us, maybe you've become numb to it. I personally did, although I would do my daily moments of gratitude every day. I walk the dog, I see a friend, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm so thankful for being on the other side of this absolute mess that I was in about 2 to 3 4 years ago, for being healthy, for having another day. And I'm listing all of these, right? And I'm grateful every day for that. But after a while, it becomes just a routine, which is not bad. I mean, that's how the brain rewires. But I think we need to dive deeper. So I the shocking thing for me was like one day I realized, oh my God, there's only two things that are certain in life, right? Being alive and being dead. And we spend our entire life avoiding the topic of death, at least majority of us, because it's this scary, this unknown thing. Regardless of your creed or religious belonging, that is not something that we just sit down at dinner with friends and talk about. But today I wanted to be an inspiration for you, because you're here, you were given one more day. You have been gifted an opportunity to do something else today, to try new things. And the only thing that is stopping you is your fear. whatever that fear is, the fear from what people would think, the fear of failure, the fear of, I don't know, maybe you just have a fear of trying new things. But if you have the fundamental need and desire to move forward, you're stuck in your life and you feel my career is not advancing, I'm having problems with my leadership team, I don't understand why I'm doing this job, I don't think this job is even for me, my job has changed. Like, for example, in marketing, I see the marketing profession being changed as um, no longer being the strategic and creative force, but it's more of a button clicker. So Unlearn Marketing, the whole workshop, which I completely forgot to mention, is not a 5-step success formula that quite a lot of the other workshops do. If you want to go and learn how to do an amazing Facebook campaign or an email campaign, there's quite a lot of people out there like Kelly Roach or Amy Porterfield, and they're awesome for that. There's webinars and podcasts about doing podcasts and doing classes and all kinds of stuff. I am not like that. I am here to show you mindfulness and business as part of your life, and to introduce you to a methodology which is really about unlearning bad habits, because we all marketers in our lives, we all have to promote our self brand regardless of the position you're in as an employee or a business owner. I am sure that quite a lot of your work is actually marketing, either talking to people, customer service, PR of your company, or trying to leverage your ideas to stakeholders in the company. So the unlearn marketing part is really about life and how to remove those bad habits, that rewire your brain, define your success, define your goals, and start small and achievable steps. So in this moment of gratitude, I want you to imagine your future self that is guiding you at this very moment. I want you to focus on now, and I'm gonna ask you to play with me. So let's close our eyes, and we're gonna take a deep breath, and we're gonna plant our feet on the ground. Okay? I want you to plant your feet on the ground. And Kiwi there. Kiwi is always grounded. And I want you to follow me. Okay? So this is how we're gonna start. And regardless of what you believe in, I'm gonna ask you to play. Okay? Please. So you plant your feet on the ground, and let's take a deep breath. And exhale. Now I want you to imagine your feet on the ground, no matter where you are. And I want you to imagine the ground beneath the building that you're in, and how in this ground are the roots of all the trees and plants and weeds and little creatures, and how all these things that are in the ground actually feed the rest of the world on top, and how somehow they all connect and they all communicate, and we are part of it. We are part of this world individually and together now as a group, because we are sharing the same common goal at the moment: to dedicate some time to ourselves, to dedicate time to build your future success and to define your future success and goals. Please take a deep breath, fill your lungs, and as you exhale, please imagine that you have a hole on top of your head, just like a whale, and I want you to blow it through there. As you take the deep breath, imagine getting the nutrients, getting the power, getting the positivity of nature coming through your roots, through your legs, through your lungs, and exhaling up your head. Okay? Let's do it. Thank you. Thank you if you played. Thank you if you just listened. Hopefully you didn't leave, because this is actually kind of important. If you wonder how this is related to success in business, I'm actually going to tell you that numerous studies, including Harvard, has concluded that mindfulness actually changes the way our brain works. It rewires the neurons in your brain. It can actually create a different reality for you. It makes you a better leader. It starts creating outcomes that are more positive to you. So, believe it or not, a series of exercises like that, I am happy to recommend quite a lot of books or podcasts. I can work with you individually as well. These are all very important to you, because if you're just pushing to get to the next job, to get that 5-step success manual and become a millionaire and have a private jet, without the mindfulness, you're really not leaving any legacy for yourself or the next generation, because you're gonna break. It's not a sustainable model. Okay, so thank you very much for playing with me. So um, let's move to the next one, which is really how we're gonna talk about the market. We're gonna talk about the current conditions. As I said, I come from a marketing background, realizing that quite a lot of the things that we do, regardless of the profession, regardless of the company you work with, regardless if you're an entrepreneur, a business owner, an artist, or whatever your occupation is at the moment, quite a lot of it is marketing. So hence, we have to be storytellers of our own stories, or the story that we are kind of supporting at the moment. And at the same time, we have to become data scientists. It's inevitable. Um, there's too many technological tools around us. We are surrounded by the chaos created by multiple companies, the speed of innovation, the speed of delivery, like everything is just compounding and makes it very hard. Not everybody is wired to do all these things at the same time. Just because you're good in what you do doesn't mean that you can necessarily cope with what's coming your way. And I think creates quite a lot of pressure on people, right? Mm, Not only that, the current economic situation and the unfortunate policies and rules that were implemented actually hurt society quite a lot. So what we're seeing now in the workforce, quite a lot of people around me actually are complaining that there's very bad leadership even in some of the larger companies. We're talking banks, making rush unstrategic decisions, impacting people's mental health, hiring and firing people, and just like this chaotic, low morale environment. So when people talk about the great resignation, the onus is usually put on the people, which I highly dislike, because the reason why people are quitting their jobs is not because they have an abundance of money and they're pampered, or because the government sent them quite a lot of funds. I find this absolutely ridiculous. It's because they're not happy, because they were burned out during COVID. They either work from home or some type of a weird hybrid um, combination. When they couldn't work from home, it put quite a lot of stress on them. And it's not that they've worked from home, they've slept at the office. That's how I see it. So there's a lot of disenchantment with quite a few professions. And there's academic research that says that marketing and HR were the two that were hit the hardest in the corporate environment, and obviously small business and entrepreneurs lost their livelihood. And as I've mentioned, there's quite a lot of trauma on the market. And this is where I would like to introduce the mindfulness concept and how to shift your perception, how to start regulating your emotions, not just like dumping them or being unable to even recognize what's going on, and they start hurting you. So unexpressed emotions, actually, because they don't go out, they stay in, and this is where illness is created. We turn towards bad habits, bad thinking, we destroy our relationship with people. It just goes on and on and on and on. So it's very important when you approach your new endeavor, when you're dreaming of your new steps in life, to actually turn towards mindfulness. Okay, so Let's move to the next one. So defining success, right? Success is very different for everybody. Success is not only different for everybody, success will be different for you at different stages of your life. My success 10 years ago was very different than the success I have or I'm looking for right now. Although I think I was kind of leaning this way, I didn't sit down and I didn't define it. I didn't think about how I imagine success. I was like, okay, I'm just going to go for a career development. I'm going to make this step. Is this step making sense 3 years from now? Okay, I'm going to take a lateral move change so I can move my career up and so on until I became the head of marketing. Okay, great. Did I consider this success? Probably for a month, and then it stopped being considered a success. Why? Because it wasn't truly what I needed. It wasn't what my family needed. It wasn't balanced. So here I am again, reconsidering, and this time I'm actually doing it right. I think the beauty of being an adult is that we can actively brainstorm on these things. We can change our opinion, and it still doesn't matter as long as you actually do something that feels right here, and then you work towards it and you don't give up, because we don't give up when we are learning to walk, although we keep falling and like it's not working at first, like our feet are not working, our hands are all over the place, the head bumps, but we don't give up. So this is no different. You're just learning how to be successful and happy in life. So for some people, it's easier to separate success in personal and business. My ultimate goal for you will be to have it all. You just need to define it clearly and be reasonable. This is not Aladdin's lamp where you want like all the gold in the world and eternal life and health. Like these are unrealistic stuff, right? Like our body will get sick, we will die, we will have the ups and downs. Someday you're gonna have money, someday oops, you won't. There will be breakups and there will be hurt feelings and you're going to have arguments with friends and so on. So let's not imagine things that are absolutely unrealistic. But just some of the things in personal life, people usually look for things related to their family and children. They want happiness and they want everybody to be good. Obviously, they want to be healthy within reason. They want to have a fulfilling romantic relationship and sexual interactions, their friendships. They want less stress, vacations, blah, blah, blah. There are some material possessions, obviously. We can all be minimalist, and as much as like we are trying to reduce the footprint on earth, which is very important as well as part of your mindfulness, to work towards this connectedness with everything around us, and we cannot unreasonably consume, right? I've stopped eating meat, for example. I drive an electric car. I am trying not to buy things that are produced in countries that actually exploit labor and especially children. I try not to buy things, period. And for example, for myself, I've learned to express myself through art. You have to find what your art is and you have to find an expression outlet. And then there's the unknown. There's obviously things we don't know will make our personal success, because we may have not encountered it or we may not have thought of it. Similar in business, there's all these things that drive people notion of success. Success in its core um, notion is really about money, right? Is how your success is measured by your bank account, by the things you can buy, by your title, and that's not what we are here for. So I am glad if you put it as a success to mindfully work towards your career development and becoming a better leader and coaching other people how to be that. But we are not here if you're hoping that this workshop or this webinar will give you steps to become super successful and super rich very fast and just disregard the rest of the world, it is not for you. It wasn't built this way. It will not have this outcome on you, despite its positive results that I cannot stop bragging about. So in the business, obviously, there's the upgrade of your skills, education. You want to get some awards. These are all absolutely acceptable, and you should be striving for those because they're part of the little pieces that make the big success together. And there's also the unknown. And another thing I'd like to mention here, it is not strictly about the results. It is about the journey. Okay, so before we jump into the 4 quadrants, I just want to kind of feel you now. I have spoken for quite a quite a while now, and I would like to see where you at. How do you feel about what you heard? So I'm just gonna ask you to send in the chat just one word. How do you feel so far? Is what I'm talking about resonating to you? If it's not, why? Um, was there something else that you were hoping to hear? So just send with one word or 2 words, resonates, um, don't get it, wish I had a 4-step success plan, or just simply share, I'm stuck in my job. I don't know what kind of career I want to go into, and send me a quick message. I am going to give you couple of minutes for that. I'm going to take a sip of my mushroom coffee. See how little Kiwi is doing. All right. Okay. So quite a few different things here. Simply, I just want you to share. Just share how you're feeling. Try to get those emotions out. I find it's a little easier at the beginning when you just type it in the chat, but if you feel very, very empowered and you'd like to jump in and talk to us, absolutely just raise your hand, and I'm happy. I think we still have time, and we are towards kind of the end of my presentation. So I'll be more than happy to include you in the hot seat that is coming up. So I highly encourage you to think about it, take advantage of this opportunity because it is free and it could help you, even if it just helps you with a problem that you're having today. Okay, so all of this that I've told you with my experience, with some of the background that I have, and my complete and utter focus on expressing the emotions, being more balanced, mindful, I went back and I looked through my professional career. I looked through the business I have built. Pretty much I dissected my life in many aspects. And then I did quite a lot of research. So the one thing I didn't mention to you, I try to read about 2 books a month. And they're always centered around something that relates to personal development, to the world, to compassion for the earth, and so on. So I'm trying to bring in positive and take out even more. So I need food for thought, right? So I can produce more of it. So I developed this methodology, as I call it, and there's 4 quadrants in the workshop, in the full workshop that we work on. So the full workshop, just to give you an idea, it lasts about a month. The next one starts on September 1st. So we do an individual meeting with everybody that has signed up. This is when we actually consider me kind of like your growth shrink. You define what your obstacles are at the moment, challenges, what do you want to do? Just we get to know each other, right? I get to know you and you get to know me, and hopefully be a little more open because that's your opportunity to actually share, right? Like I'm here to hear it all. And then we start a month-long workshop where it's 4 sessions. Each of the session is about an hour, sometimes can go a little longer depending on the group. I do it differently. Sometimes we may have bigger groups. Sometimes it may end up being just you and I. Depends how I feel about the participants and what my observations are and what your individual needs are. Unlike a lot of the facilitators, I don't try to jam as many people as I can in a group. so it makes financial sense. I want it to make sense for you. Uh, Considering this is still new to me as well, I have not jacked the prices of the workshop. It is quite reasonable. It's pretty much 2 visits to a psychoanalyst, and you will get quite a lot of it in terms of hours and work. Okay, so my daily juicing has a little bit of garlic. I'm glad this is a video conference. Okay, so the quadrants I have are brainstorm, budget, lean, and attraction. And I'm going to go briefly over some of them just to give you an idea what it's all about. So, brainstorming in general is something that is absolutely fundamental for the creation of the aspects of our life. Usually, brainstorming is associated with the creative and advertising agency world. I've done it when I work in an ad agency. I did it even as a marketer, so I'll brainstorm with myself. I always have a whiteboard and I'll draw things, but I've never brainstormed about my life. And not only that, I quite often approached it in the past pragmatically, right? Um, Rather than let my brain just dump on it um, emotionally and then introduce the pragmatical part of life, I was kind of trying to guide it. So it took me a while, even myself, and it's almost like at the beginning my brain would hurt. It's a muscle that you need to exercise. It's very hard to describe the intangible emotions, feelings, thoughts with tangible outside of your language. So you start with language, but then obviously the things that you're thinking, they need to create a form. So let's say you're trying to start a business for landscaping and you have this incredible idea how you can actually create sustainable gardens for your clients, and you can also decorate their backyard and make it just like this zen space of living for them. Well, there's quite a lot of things you need to brainstorm in it, right? You need to think of your name, you need to think of your service offering, you need to think of how much you're going to charge, which is also based on research. How is your logo going to look? How is your clients going to look? Like, is it Mary, who is like 55 and lives in North York in Toronto? Or it's Betty that lives in Collingwood and has retired 10 years ago? Or it might be Mike, who is a single dad, and he just wants to create a very safe and nurturing environment for his kids. Okay, so all of this is very intangible at first, and then we need to put it in a tangible, either paper or whatever other medium you choose. So we, in the conventional sense, when somebody does that, we call this art, right? Sitting down, drawing, or making a sculpture, or singing a song, or whatever the expression is, it's usually called art. Yet we never look at life or our careers as such. So during that quadrant, we're gonna discuss how to brainstorm on your particular things that you're currently stuck with, and how to move past that, how to take what you brainstormed on and actually turn it into a tangible result, turn it into a goal, into a step, into a plan, whatever comes out of it. In the second quadrant of our workshop, we're going to focus on budgeting, but not the budget in the sense of fiscal and financial responsibility. I have an accountant for that too. It's my least favorite. I have to do it for my business. Some people are just born naturally with gifts about it. I understand it. It's not my favorite. Nevertheless, that's not what I'm talking about. As a marketer, quite a lot of people that, oh my God, it's all this creative and foo-foo and cool stuff that you do, but they don't realize that 50% of it is budgeting. Quite a lot of young people going into the career don't realize it's all about budgeting. You need to be able to be responsible and accountable for the numbers. They're not your money. You have to be able to spend them wisely, or if they're your money, even more so. But what we're going to talk about is about the resources in your life, right? We're going to identify some of the inefficiencies. Either you work for a company and you're stuck and your leadership team is absolutely lost, or you're running your own business. Part of defining your success will really be how are you managing your resources, because time and resources equal money at the end of the day. Unfortunately, that's the world we live in. A prime example of that, and one of my largest pet peeves, is companies that have inefficient processes for recruiting new employees. Upload your resume, then enter the information again. Then it takes 3 months for them to get back. There's 5 interviews, 2 tests, and then they never call you back. Or they hire somebody, not or, and they hire somebody. Obviously they don't have good processes, so they won't have a good process of onboarding or training or defining goals, and people now are actually quitting within a week. I spoke with somebody who told me they're having a massive problem in their company, uh, and she's in a very high position. She has no understanding. She spends all this time hiring people, and people just quit. She had 6 people quit within, I think one person quit within the first week, and within a month everybody else quit. So she's like, I don't know what to do. And I said, you have an HR problem. You don't have a process, and you're not motivating people. You might be throwing quite a lot of chaos at them. And I said, and not only that, that's costing quite a lot of money to the company, and people usually don't see it because you're paying an employees. But you always have to think, if you want to be successful, you have to think as the business is your own. And obviously stop when it's not, and don't work the 25 hours in a 24-hour day. Okay, there's boundaries we don't cross as an entrepreneur or as an employee. But what I'm saying is your responsibility towards the budget, whatever the budget includes, is crucial. The second portion of the budget aspect is really not to be cheap. Um, Not to be cheap, paying for the right things, and paying fairly for services, because you want to be paid fairly. Please don't cheap out, especially when it comes to local vendors and small businesses. It's awful. It's awful PR. It's awful karma. It brings the same to you. One day you'll open your own business and people will nickel and dime you for $5. I have lived through that. And as a new business owner, obviously you want to get any business, but that is not the way, because you will be treated as what you were paid for, and you will get the services that you paid for. As I say, you feed peanuts, you get monkeys. Okay. And in the third quadrant, we're gonna talk about running lean life, and that could be anything from your startup initiatives to your body. Some of the notions you've heard about: the lean body, lean mind, the lean startup is a huge book in the entrepreneurial, especially the technology entrepreneurial world. But I personally look at it even I look at it even deeply and more simplistically, because I practice my lean methodology in everything from drafting an email to my friendships to my day-to-day life. If something is really taking a lot of time for me to brew on, and I have this like very unpleasant feeling about it, it's not the right time. I need to remove it. I simply follow: if something doesn't work, let it go. Prime example, writing my emails, stuck on a copy. I have to create quite a lot of copy, and sometimes I just get so sick of it. It gets too long and blah blah blah. People may not understand what I actually mean. I tend to be very philosophical, and one day I was just writing an email, and I'm like, I can't get this sentence right. It was so frustrating. And I was like, oh my God, Mira, what are you doing? If it's not working, just remove it. So I removed it, and the whole email would just lit up. So sometimes it clutters, right? Like all these things, like imagine all the things that you carry in your mind from your childhood. We still carry some trauma and things, blah, 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 right? This defines us, our character. And then you carry some burdens. Then physically you carry some stuff. So let's say um, we don't have an unlimited capacity to carry things through our life, because we go through different stages, and from each stage we take a little thing. So imagine you have all these 100 things carrying, and you're like, oh my God, look at this new job, and I really want to take it, and I really want to apply, but can I do it? It says I need 10% travel, 20% travel, I don't know, da, da, da. You need to let go of something. You cannot bring anything new unless you have space, right? So this is what I practice. If something doesn't work, let it go. You have to run a lean life. Um, you just have to remove the obstacles that are cluttering your day, mind, and time. Okay. And the last one is attraction. So the laws of attractions, you've heard of it. It's very popular, or at least I think it's popular. Pretty much says whatever you're thinking, that's what you're attracting, right? It's not some gimmick magic. As I told you, having a mindful approach towards life, imagining your successes, just meditating and trying to imagine even the little details of your future success. Imagine your future you telling you what's going to happen and giving you the advices right now. You will attract what you're professing. And if you're thinking of failure, you are manifesting it. Unfortunately, negative thoughts kind of most of the time prevail over the positive. It's just how our society is structured around fear and all of these restrictions that kind of um, keep us on the right track that consumerism kind of wants us to be. But the hard part is not um, really the hard part is not thinking about the failure. Like it's easy for me to say, oh, just think positively. But what happens quite often is people think positively and then they have the negative thoughts and they have them at the same time. And this is almost like the positive is almost like a noise for the negative. So it becomes this chaos in your head. And sometimes you're like, you know what, screw it. I'm just going to go and I'm going to have coffee. So what we do during the workshop is like, we try to center you and focus you and get you back on track, because now when you have a defined success and when you know what your success is going to be, it's much easier. You're looking towards something tangible. And at this level of consciousness is really where the hard work begins. Okay, we need to strip off your upbringing, your cultural expectations, and the society, kind of the social norms of who you need to be, and for once really focus on yourself. But this is a holistic focus. Okay, so this is about the workshop. The next part I have dedicated if somebody really wants to jump the gun, feel super brave, and share, first of all, their thoughts, what they have seen so far. Does it resonate with you? And then think about if there's something you'd like to bring to the group and have the hot seat, and something we can resolve with you today. I say, since I'm improvising, bring it on. It could be a bigger one. I would prefer it to be a smaller problem, something that we can address in 5 minutes, but whatever comes in mind. Okay. I'm going to give you an example. When I was going through my divorce and I was forced to be self-represented in court, which is fun. And I would like stay until 3 a.m. in the morning studying law, writing my factums and all the documents and organizing them and cataloging them and making copies and affidavits and all kinds of other crazy stuff. And then I'll go to work. And then at lunch break, I'll run to the Superior Court to file my documents, serve my ex-husband's lawyer, and so on and so on. It was absolutely crazy. Then I'll go in the evening, try to be happy and mindful. I was still living with my ex at the time and separated in the same household, but according to law and because we haven't settled custody, we had to live together. And I was going crazy. I was supposed to be like this support for my son, and I tried to make all this, like I make homemade food and freshly squeezed juices. Anyway, I was doing 3,000 things at the same time, right? And then at one moment I realized, oh my God, I am broke. I'm going through all this and I don't have time for work. In the sense that the commute itself sometimes was taking too much time, and people come and chit chat with me, and it wasn't that I wasn't doing my work. Like I was good at what I did, and like I could do it with my eyes closed, even when there was conflict. But it was becoming too much, and people would ask me, "Oh, how are you doing? What's going on?" So I was getting tired of talking about my divorce, but at the same time, I couldn't hide it. It was part of my life. And then I realized I have to remove the work. So as a result, I've opened my own agency. I converted my employer into a client. That was not easy. I brought in another big client, and based on that, I've actually, although when I got sick and I couldn't really keep up with the same pace, and COVID really destroyed us. Um, I've managed to do quite a lot with the proceeds I made in those two first years. So removing something that at first looked so impossible opened up the world for me. It actually created a brand new life and opportunity for me. So I'm here today talking to you from my home office, and I absolutely love it. Okay, I can have my kiwi boy there. I can go water my garden. I can go meditate, and at the same time, I can work as hard as I want without the stress of the traffic and so on. So don't get me wrong, business is super stressful, and I've had my moments of crying and pulling my hair, but overall good. Okay, so let's see if somebody is brave enough for the hot seat. And then last but not least, obviously, I want you to come, sorry, bueno, sorry. I want you to join us for the workshop. But if you're unable to, or you're whatever reason, I want you to take one thing today, and I want you to set up your personal and business goals. If you can work with those 4 quadrants that I gave you, even on a very, very top level, just brainstorming on your success. What does success mean to you? Just imagine it, draw a picture of it if you want, and start small. Conquer one day at a time. Don't try to conquer the whole picture. Just one step, okay? Start with, okay, today I'm going to wake up and I'm actually going to do a healthy routine in the morning. I'm going to have my juice. And even if I skip, a little bit of meditation or my positive thinking, that's okay, because we can be perfect every day, okay? And the Unlearn Marketing Workshop starts in September, as I mentioned. The cost is $559. It is below what I usually charge for an hour, but I'm very passionate about it. It's something that I want to fully dedicate my time to. It's my new goal, okay? I want to help people. I want to be there for you. I want you to be happy with the work we do together. This is not a money maker for me. This is something that I want to be a legacy. So it includes the 2 individual sessions. The first one is 1 hour, and then we do half an hour after we're done with the active work on your goals for a month. So in that 1 month, we're going to meet 4 times for a total of 4 hours, so a little over that. And then you will have a 6 months accountability buddy system, which I will not be revealing what it is, okay? It might be very surprising for you, but the idea is to keep you on track and just make you accountable for your actions, and to keep you on track. So at the end, after we hang up, you will receive an email. Please open it to download our free self-guide. It will kind of provide you with a little bit more write-ups on each of the quadrants, and then about 6 sections on each, to help you have a self-guided experience, and then a little timeline for yourself, just to keep yourself accountable. I want to thank you so much for coming today, for making the time, and for trusting me with your time as well, just even for an introduction. If you have any questions, or you want to connect with me at a different time, this is my information. You also have it in the emails, and I am beyond grateful to meeting you today. Have an awesome day, everybody.